next to it. My post-parents.
You know what? Let's answer a whole lot of questions. See, you are a different kind of black. See, Caribbean black people they think like white folks. And that makes a lot more sense.
That is so insultive. That is so insultive, man. That's racism right there. That's so stupid to say. That's asinine. And I'm going to call you out for it. The Caribbean people think like white people. Just listen to how that sounds. That is so like...
Your boy from the South, man. Y'all know how I do it. Turn my headphones up and watch me get to it. In 3.5 minutes, your life can be ruined. So much bullshit.
Sitting at home and waiting for somebody to hand it.
You know you froze, by the way.
Okay. I'm not saying.
Did he freeze for a long time?
Huh?
I want to. You know you froze, right? So we may have missed what you said.
You only froze for like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay. So like when I'm saying access, I'm not saying that people are not walking up to people and handing them access to education and everything else. It's the educational path to understanding that what you have is access. A lot of people, remember I told you the story about the debit card, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody's seen a debit card, but that doesn't necessarily mean that kid knew how to use it, right?
Right.
The information that he got gave him a different use for that. You see what I'm saying? He had a tool, but no access to understand how to use the tool effectively, right? So you brought up education as a big piece as to why people do not understand each other, right? Or have trouble understanding what things are, guidelines and rules and stuff like that. Then you got to have the communication piece part of it, right? Mm-hmm. So now you bring that part back full circle, and then you're talking about black people, who's the least educated, most policed, under-resourced, and everything else. And you want people to say, "Oh no, we got access." No, you got to understand. You have a lack of understanding of people, not you. I'm talking about the user has a lack of understanding of what access and success looks like, because they don't have access to people that are that successful that can give them a tangible way to go forward, because we're talking about who again? Lost people.
Right. And would you say that's the majority of black people?
No, I wouldn't say that that's the majority.
And why do you think that we're in the masses like that then?
Because I know when to pick and choose which information I can affect. See, I can affect the people that's already moving in a positive way by adding more momentum. Right. I don't have time to focus on who isn't on board with us. That's why my book is called The Blueprint to Solidarity Among Reasonable Black People.
Okay.
I only talk to reasonable black people.
So that, again, that's your experience and that's what you want to focus on. But I'm saying for you to say that, you know, it's the whole curse thing, the slavery thing, it's affecting them, it's all this.
I didn't say it's the whole thing. I just say it's an understanding.
It's an understanding it, whatever.
It's education. It's all of it.
Great. Slavery ain't gonna do nothing for me today that I don't know already, right? It's not gonna affect my life. It happened back then. Sorry it happened. Build a bridge and get over it. Now, I'm saying for the majority of the modern day black man today, do you think he has less access than back then or more?
The access has always been there. It's education.
Okay, so you think they have lack of access to get to it?
It's education, understanding.
So they don't have the education or understanding to use those resources.
Because if you go back even further, like I said before, you have to get good at something. People don't get educated on something until they decide they're going to be good at it. So in the meantime, you're just winging it on whatever resource you got. And if you don't if you come from a blue collar family where everybody had a job here, a job there, and a job there, and a job there, you don't have continuity. You don't know what consistency is. You don't know what it's like to be dug in to do anything for 20 years and complete something.
So in other words, you're saying they don't, in other words, you would say that they don't have the knowledge to know that it's there.
Nope, I wouldn't say that. I don't think they have no, they don't have a stable enough community to understand where they have access points. See,
That's what I'm saying. They don't have a knowledge to know that they have those.
I didn't say that. I said they don't have a stable enough community. There's plenty of
smart where they live.
Let me finish.
Okay.
There's plenty enough smart people that don't have the resources to obtain the access to the things they like to use.
All right, so let me see if I can. Okay. Let me see if I can.
Because to say that you don't think people have the intelligence or the smarts or the knowledge, it's going to insult a bunch of people.
No, I didn't say that. I said, you're saying that they don't know that it's there, that they can use it. And I'm saying it's because they don't know, educational wise, they don't know that it's there to use.
I think it's a combination of just too many different things. And like, for me, I focus on security, because if you don't have a stable environment, You can't bring people that can grow the
And
community.
you would call a stable environment what? Man, father, mother. What would you call a stable environment?
An economically, you know what I'm saying, a sound household.
So what would that entail?
I mean, like the best example would be like, man, your typical white communities that'll be across the tracks that pay enormous property taxes that fund their schools. You ever been to Texas?
Would that be a mother? I'm talking a household, right?
I'm talking about metrics.
Okay, so forget about
we talking about socio-demographic.
So you're not talking about where you live.
No, I'm talking about like in general, where the zip code has to be beneficial. I'm talking about zip code type of
stuff. You're talking about not in the ghetto, but out of the ghetto.
Anywhere the zip, like here's my point. You can find the ghetto in any point in America.
Right. So I'm trying to figure out what you're trying to say is because I'm talking about the individual. How is the individual? The individual is you're talking about is the individual as in he comes from a good household to advance in the environment that he's in, or you're talking about the environment that he's in is keeping him where he's at with the household within the household that he grew up in.
Well, I think that's and I'm trying not to read too far in the weeds or whatever, because sometimes I know I can make a conversation, a question a little bit more difficult. But I think we're entitled to unpack explanations because we've been using short answers for a very long time. Short answer, yes, you definitely need a stable household. I get that part. You know what I'm saying? In terms of mother and father. Above stable household, you have to have stable economic structure, because what you do for money determines how often you're in the house with your family doing nurturing things.
Right.
So even if you got a household with a stable mother and father that make a bunch of money, if they don't spend time with the kids, what was it all for if they turn out to be serial killers?
All right, so check this out. Perfect example. So, and this kind of goes back to what you were talking about too, Antoine. So I just got through working in a high school, and for the last 6 months or so, and my big project was on. It started with just having conversation with kids. So just in that high school, there were students who had 4.0s, 4.3s, who knew exactly what school they were going to, which profession they wanted to be into. They saw the trajectory of their life way down the road. The same exact school. I walk around, kids ain't never had a conversation with their counselor. They don't know who their counselor is. They don't know what they want to do in school. They don't know that it takes a certain GPA to get into certain schools. But I'm just looking, I'm like, how in the world does these kids know and these don't? And a lot of it had to do when I started talking to these kids was about the interactions that they had with their parents or their teachers. They just wasn't given the information. They just didn't know. And it's crazy because you have a student that'll come in the counselor's office with, trying to get a way to get absences off of their schedule. You know what I mean? So they can pass a class. And you will have another student come right in after him talking about, hey, I've already applied for these 6 schools. I just had a conversation with so-and-so, and now I think I may have a better opportunity to go to this school and this school. And it's like, how in the world? And one of the things that I've been learning is just not only information and getting the information, but also the time you get the information. And at the same time, we just don't know what you don't know. Some of those kids just didn't know what questions to even ask. So if there's not someone,
is that a failure on the teacher's part?
I do think it is some failures. I do think it is on parents, but at the same time, the only thing about the teaching is teachers are there to teach. The education system is doing what it's supposed to do.
And they're underpaid and under-resourced.
And they're underpaid and under-resources. So if you are all day long, your job is to make sure that students pass a test at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And then it's going to be an issue if you don't have a certain percentage of those students passing. And it becomes a bigger issue because now the school overall is not passing or meeting certain expectations. So now your job is on the line. You're stressed out because you got student loan debts, all of these things. So how much you overworked, underpaid? So how much are you really inputting other than what you actually need to do? And then kind of what Vic was talking about, if the parents are stable, but they're outside of the house, the parents are not having the conversations. So I just think at the end of the day, it's just a lot of it is students and kids and people just don't know what they don't know. And if
It's
you don't have
economics.
somebody
So
telling you,
so you
you don't
think the
know.
disconnect is what then, that these kids know and these kids didn't?
It's economics. It's economics. Like if it like
You think
like
it's
in,
economics?
yeah,
And
like seriously, like hear what I'm saying. Like from a overarching point of view, right? The reason all of us do what we do is because we need resources and we need to survive. Okay.
Right.
So the jobs that we do or have done put us in position to act on the talents that we already have. A lot of us went from employed to self-employed. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because we actually found something that we were what? Good at. If you got an unstable home, what are the things that you're going to wind up being good at? Probably sports.
Probably sports.
Okay.
Or running the street.
Do you see a direct correlation between entertainment and sports with Black people and economics?
Yes. Okay, but that still doesn't answer my question to Garfield. Why do you, if you knew those two sets of kids, why do you think this kids did and these ones did it with the same grades?
Because the parents don't have the same goals. Because like you got to understand, parents and teachers ain't necessarily good at the shit that they do. Okay, they just go clock in.
You're saying the parents is the reason the kids never ask those questions?
No, look, the parents everybody has some involvement in why kids aren't where they are. Okay, let's just all things considered.
It starts at home. I say.
Here and we get that part, but they don't. But where's the end? That's just another recycled answer. It starts at home. You know what I'm saying? But you don't know how those children, you don't know how those parents were raised.
That's what it says. It starts at home, though.
But which home? When?
The one they live in.
Or the one before the. All right, so I get you. All right, so here, check this out. So I
you don't
just
automatically
got
have
into
kids and then become a responsible parent. That's my point.
What was that?
So
you don't automatically have kids and become a great parent.
That's why I said plan. That's why I was.
But here's the thing. I think so because I came from a certain background, and then I've kind of I've moved and transitioned to a different socioeconomic status. So I've seen it on both sides. I am still learning things that I just didn't know, and I didn't even know that I was supposed to know this information. It's like no one told me how to pick a wife. I never knew. No one ever told me that. No one had a conversation with me about this. You're supposed to look for this. You're supposed to look for this. You should be on your purpose first. I never grew up learning any of this information, but there are a bunch of kids who do like you. You grew up with a father who told you to do A, B, C, and D. You know what I mean? He told you to go to school, be on your purpose. You know what I mean? Get your education. Whatever it is he told you, those positive things, you had those. So for students and people who don't grow up with someone even knowing what to teach their children is where a lot of the problems come in. Because, I became a parent at 19. I didn't know what I was supposed to do. I didn't know what I was supposed to teach my son. No one told me. There was no book. There was plenty of books written out there to be a parent, but there is no book written for my specific purpose and my case and my situation. So I have to wing it. I have to learn it on my own. And I made a bunch of mistakes. I did some good things. I made some bad things. So I think at the end of the day, a lot of it has to do with, like you said, it does start in the home. But like you said, what home? You know what I mean? Was it the home that they grow up in now? Was it the home that I grew up in as a father?
The damaged homes that the parents came from?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
go all the way back. So I do agree. It does start in the home. That's where it starts. But what is the starting point of the home? What information are they getting at home? And you're a perfect example of someone who had that.
Your dad gave you structure.
You knew, yeah.
Your pops gave you structure, bro. And there's plenty of Black men that's giving their son structure, but they have different obstacles that deal with certain economics. You know what I'm saying? Certain situations, like you didn't grow up fighting the crack era. You didn't grow up with parents that didn't grow up with white people as students. You know what I'm saying? They went to school with. Like, I'm 42 years old. My parents didn't grow up with white people. You see what I'm saying? So like, there's a lot of conversations that were never had that brought information to our tribe where we could have evolved discussion.
That is, you know, and I'm even gonna say that's surprising to me that your parents were raised without knowing white people.
That's why I said you're a different kind of black. You won't listen to me, but I keep trying to tell you.
that's like, where were they, in a box? Like, how do you not know white people?
No, we was in the South. You need to open up a book.
Okay, the South. I guess the South has white people.
But you don't understand. It don't mean anything. They had black people roped off on sides of town where white people don't even live.
Okay, so it's not that they didn't know of them, they just weren't in the same school, right?
No, they said, no, your people go to school over here. We're gonna make our white people go to school over here.
So it was, and to me, okay, so when they raised you,
do you think white people sit up and say, yeah, I'm gonna send all my kids to a black school?
No, I don't think
that's my point. So because they don't have to.
But do you think that they raised you not to be associated with white people?
No, I mean, of course not.
Okay.
Like, we can't affect anything. Like, what the shit that black people do don't affect white people in no negative way. The shit that white people do affects everybody because they're the majority.
Right.
Think about it. When black people have self-contained issues, it's self-contained. A rapper dies, do you think white people get upset?
I don't even get upset, but that's me.
That's what I'm saying. But my point, we just talking about a general observation. But like, if a big white entertainer gets dies, you think the Mexican population get upset? Probably not. They don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? You can only care about the shit that's close to you and what look like you. You know what I'm saying? So my point being is that, like, your discovery of what black people have dealt with from where I'm from, that the same people that oppressed, that have all the information, run all of the institutions, you think they're gonna educate the people that they abused?
Okay, go on.
Yes or no? Do you think that the people, what's the incentive of the people that oppressed everybody? What's their incentive of empowering the people that they oppress? You think it's an apology?
Okay, are we talking modern time now?
We're just talking about in general. This is a general.
Today, right? In today's time?
Period. Just
in today's time, there is no, I don't believe in white supremacy.
No, we ain't worried about whether or not you believe in white supremacy. I'm just saying
it doesn't exist.
Do you think, generally, like, all things true, do you think that a person do you think the people that abused another set of people are gonna educate them with the same love?
Back then, no.
Period. No, don't go back then, just in general.
Okay, let me hear it in general. Go again. Say it again.
Okay, you've been abused by somebody at work, right? They turn a corner or appear to turn a corner, seem like they're a little bit better to you than they have been. Do you still trust them? If they abused you for 29 days out of a 30
no, I wouldn't trust them.
That's my point. That is the only point that I'm making. So I'm supposed to trust the education of the person that, you know what I'm saying, that underfunds, devalues, don't pay his own teachers, and you expect us to get diamonds out of that situation across the board. And I just gave you the socioeconomic.
But I wouldn't do it. I would have to have the experience to not trust them, right?
Thank you. That's all that I'm saying.
Right? You have to have these, you can't just trust them just based on who they are.
And look, that is the only, when I tell you we're a different kind of black,
right?
That's the point that I'm talking about, because your experience is not mine.
Exactly.
So that's why I say you have to be responsible by, when you say you're black and then you have a different opinion about it, you have to caveat where you grew up, because the most people that's going to hear you is going to be American black people. Right. So like, when I get ready to say what I got to say, you can't dismiss the experience of the history that's written down. You can't dismiss the emotions and the energy that goes with that, because you can't do nothing positive out of a negative situation, right, regardless of access.
But I'm also going to speak on top of that. I'm also going to let the black people know, listen, you don't have the right to speak on that when you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth. You have no excuses, none. You have no excuses, because you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth. You have the opportunity. So don't use that crap. Don't use that and what happened back then to justify your asinine ways today. And what happened to that person has no bearing on what you decide to do. You got to take your own responsibility and you got to use your own knowledge to find your own way. But you can't use that as an excuse to base why you failed. No, you failed because you wanted to fail by choice. And because you drank that Kool-Aid.
I think it's a difference. I think it's a difference between someone who blames that versus someone who recognizes where they came from.
Right.
And now they've taken a stand
exactly.
do something
and
about
I
it.
That.
Because I get that. I know
that's why I only want to, that's why I say when I focus my conversation, I'm only talking about reasonable people that solve problems. Yeah. We're not talking about those that make excuses. We're talking about those that recognize the obstacle. Yeah. That's why I set the conversation where I said it, because like, if you don't, you got to understand, like when you play this back, and I want you to go back and look at this segment, this piece, you got to think of it like, who's going to hear what I have to say, regardless of what my intent is. And if they could chop out one section of it and look at it, they're going to go back and they're going to see somebody that's just adversarial. You see what I'm saying? To Black people. That's the way they're going to see it, because you got to understand something. Everybody don't have the same start point. Everybody don't have, like, even Black families that have a stable father in their life, whatever, right? And a stable mother in a stable household. It ain't no guarantee that they came from a stable household themselves. You don't know what they was raised by. You see what I'm saying? You don't know what's normal. You don't know what type of trauma that they come from. And then you got to go back. See, when you go back in Black people's history, it's just more and more trauma. You see what I'm saying? So like, you can have your opinion about slavery, but the trauma that came with trying to get reset, nobody else has had to deal with that. You haven't had to deal with the residuals of that in America. You see what I'm saying?
And neither do you. And neither does Garfield.
Hey, look, I like, seriously, I'd like for you to consider the words that you're using, because I'm trying to tell you that when you say neither do you, and I come from a place where I just described where the civil rights movement took place, and I grew up here, and I know I have relatives that have marched in civil rights movements.
Right.
Okay. Now, I'm not like, Birmingham is not 60 years removed. We just started voting. You don't understand. This is the limitation of your understanding again. You see what I'm saying? But this is the limitations of your understanding. Okay. You don't live in an education system, or in a country where education system is trying to remove slavery from the history books that already oppressed you.
Jesus, come on now.
But see, like, but you don't understand how dismissive you're being, and truth be told,
that's the victimhood.
How you understand? Look, how you deal. Look, I'm trying to have dialogue, and you're the only one having a defensive language right now. And what I'm trying to tell you is that how you deal with conversations like this from somebody speaking from an informed position, and how you respond to it is more indicative of you and not me. And I'm trying to tell you that when somebody sees it, they're going to run off on a different tangent. And maybe that's not what you're trying to exude, but I'm telling you right now, the way you're being dismissive right now, nobody's going to want to talk to you in that regard about Black issues. And that's cool. But understand that if you're entitled to your responses and your opinion, but I am the person that's going to bring the flame out. You know what I'm saying? Because I wanted to be understood that everybody don't feel the way that you feel, and that's cool.
And that's cool. But
look, don't make but what I'm saying is, don't make a disingenuous effort to understand just to dismiss it.
No, it's not to dismiss it, but there's a lot of Black people that are tired of the old narrative. They're tired of it, and they want to speak on a positive way about it now. They want to speak on the avenues they do have, but they're tired of the old Kool-Aid. They want to drink something new.
We talking about this though. We ain't talking about the other negative people. We talking about the positive people that's on this panel.
Right.
Because these are the people that can push the narrative further.
And that's exactly what.
But see, and that's the thing, and that's why I bring it back and I put this up and say, hey, look, this is about reasonable Black people, even though it's blurred out. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you keep it down. If you keep it down, it's not blurred.
Yeah, when you keep it to you, when you keep it like that, it's fine.
Oh, y'all can see the whole thing. You know what it is, man? My name tag.
Yeah, when you keep it right there, if you raise it up.
This is about reasonable Black people. See, the understanding is this right here. That whole conversation we just had was a trauma response to what we're used to defending.
Right. Because to be honest,
because you're talking about what you're tired of. I'm not talking about what I'm tired of.
Right.
I'm trying to reset your foundation so you could take in a different perspective of the conversation that I wrote about. Right. I wrote a book about my feelings on this.
Right.
You can have a different opinion, but until you read the book, All you have is conjecture.
No,
in
but
your
that's your
personal
book. I'm
experience.
just saying that's your book. I'm just saying I was raised the same way. I was raised
you
with the
wasn't.
same.
You wasn't
There was
raised
a
the
lot of
same way.
obstacles. There was a lot of obstacles.
We were
A
not
lot of
raised the
racism.
same way, and that's a
I'm
poor
also- There
assumption.
was a lot of racism. When
That's
I
a poor assumption. We were not raised the same way.
it's different environments, but when I say that there was racism, I would say that was just as effective, just as hard, just as goddamn, it was the same thing. But it's the only thing different is I wasn't raised with that victimhood mentality. I wasn't raised to look at it. I was raised.
Are you mixed?
Hmm?
Are you mixed?
I was born in Trinidad. What is that? What does mixed mean? Were you mixed with my post-parents?
You know what? Let's answer the whole lot of questions. See, you are a different kind of black. See, Caribbean black people they think like white folks. And that makes a lot more sense.
That is so
It's true.
insultive. That is so insultive, man. That's racism right there. That's so stupid to say. That's asinine. And I'm gonna call you out for
Triggered.
it. The Caribbean people are think like white people. Just listen to how that sounds. That is so like, what makes you more black than a Caribbean person to say that? Like, what makes you so black? Really? What? Because you come from
You don't
what?
even see the hypocrisy.
What makes you so black over somebody that's Caribbean? Why would you say that? What makes you so black? That makes you over somebody Caribbean to say
I
that
love the
a Caribbean
hypocrisy. Just
person,
keep
a
going.
Caribbean person is a white thinking person. That's like so narrow-minded. Really.
Look, we didn't learn about
that's uneducation right there.
No, we didn't learn about colonizers until y'all.
Jesus Christ. But to even say that, man, it's like, how could you say that? Like, what makes you more black than me?
But because look, you've done nothing but dismiss the black experience that I'm telling you.
I'm not
about
dismissing
firsthand.
anything.
Yes,
I'm
you
just not
did.
functioning on that
You
level.
really did. And then the minute that I tell you that you
No.
sound like a white colonizer, look at how you respond.
But I would never say to you, oh,
It
you
ain't
know
about
what?
what you would never say. It's a different
No, but I
tribe
would
and a
never,
different
but I would
dialect.
never, but still, I would
I
never
told
say
you
to
we were a different kind of black.
But I
That's
would
what I'm
never
trying
say
tell
to you, you're more black than me because you are from Alabama or whatever. I would never say that because it doesn't
You
make
see
sense.
how you even just tried to say Alabama real country because you wanted to take a shot. You're
What are
defensive
you
right
talking
now.
about? Dude,
Don't worry about it. We'll play it
don't
back
try
and
to
you'll see.
backpedal. No, wait. Don't try to backpedal that asinine statement. Let's talk about that. You cannot say
No.
somebody is Caribbean, is the people from the Caribbean think like white people. How could you say that?
This is the invitation for you
That's
to buy
your
the
book.
to get
That's
a
your
greater
opinion. That's your
understanding.
book. That is
Exactly,
your book,
but
your
I
opinion.
don't owe you an
Your
explanation.
book,
beyond
your
this book,
opinion.
though.
That is
You
your
can buy
book,
the
your
book.
opinion.
I'm cool.
But that
It's
is your
okay.
book and your opinion. But you cannot
you-
say
and you had your
Caribbean. You cannot
But
paint
you
a brush
had-
like that.
You had your
You
opinions. and
cannot
you
say
used
a
the
brush
broad
like that. You
but I
cannot
already
say
did.
you cannot say a brush like that. Caribbean think
You
like
can
white people.
You
Listen
can
to what you're
rewind it and
saying.
go back and look at it. And I've written
No,
about
I
it.
don't have to, I'm telling you right now, I don't have to go back and look at nothing. I'm just saying you can't say that what black
I
Caribbean
already
people
did.
think like
You can
white
rewind
people.
it and see it again. I can say it again, but look.
You can say it as many times as you want. It's
then-
still asinine to say.
You're the
Because
only one
it's an
upset.
uneducated and to say something like that. It's
I've
foolish.
already
So
proved my point.
you're saying a Jamaican guy is a white guy thinking. Jamaican's Caribbean. He thinks like a white man. Really? Like, why would you say that? That's so narrow-minded. That's so it's just even disgusting to hear you come out of your mouth. You ain't no more black than anybody else. That's such a that you are not more black than me or anybody else. Period. Your experiences are different. You may have an experience, but it's not more black than anybody else.
Would that be
Whatever, dude? It's like so sad. It's so sad. Honestly,
Keep going, bro.
It's just sad.
It's all right.
That is such a racist thing to say, but whatever.
It'll be all right, bro. I understand, man. It's
No, you don't. No, you don't. Don't patronize me. You don't.
Oh man, I know.
That went in here.
Okay.
Incomplete. That went in here.
I get it, man. Look,
no, you don't. You don't. No, you don't.
Don't worry about it. You'll see it when you play it back.
You don't. You don't get it. You don't.
So
okay.
would you, Antoine? Like the reason why you may be experiencing whatever you're feeling right now? Do you think that has something to do with that? There's a negative connotation that being Caribbean and being associated with a white person is a negative thing. Because I guess because I'm saying is like if I'm like that's the same way you dribble just like you it's like somebody saying you dribble just like Steph Curry. Like that's a good thing. So I guess what I'm saying
it's
is
not about good or bad. What I'm saying is it's not about good or bad. What I'm saying is Caribbean people do not think like white people. Mm-hmm. Like that's like what? Like where the hell did you go to school? What would you say that? You're not even Caribbean for one, right? I don't even know if you've been to Jamaica or Trinidad to say that, but you're not. But okay, your experience is how you grow up and your civil rights and your kumbaya. Good, great. I understand that. But to say that because you're more Black than the person that's from Caribbean or from an island, what is that?
And I could be wrong, but I think kind of sort of where we're at is maybe there is a difference in our experiences based off of where we grew up from.
Okay,
I
but
grew up.
doesn't make, I
I
agree with
grew up.
that.
Yeah, I grew and sometimes things. I'm not putting words in anybody's mouth, but I look at a different type of Black is just not necessarily a bad thing. You grew up there, and for the first few years of your life, you grew up in Montreal, and then you end up moving over to LA. So Montreal and LA have two different dynamics of types of people, Black, white, green, whatever, than they do someone you know, from Alabama and someone from Virginia like me. So all our experiences are way different. There are certain things that go on in Black Alabama that don't go on in Black Virginia. They don't go on in Black Montreal. They don't go on in Black whatchamacallit. So to just be a different type of Black,
But I
I
wouldn't
don't
say that
necessarily
person
see
in
that.
Alabama is more Black than the person in
Yeah, I don't
Baltimore.
either. I just say it's
I wouldn't
a
say that.
different type of. I just say it's a different type of Black
I just said you're a
demographic.
different type
Just
of Black.
like
That's all I said.
Yeah, but to
I
say
look at
that
white.
the
Because
Caribbeans are think of white, that is so bad. That's not even
I
like
just
white
look
to
at it as
say,
just an opinion. You know what I
you know?
mean? And I don't really care about his opinion on
You
that.
you
That's just his
you you
Me
made
opinion.
a
neither. I
lot
was
of
like,
general
damn. I was
blanket.
like,
You made a
okay.
lot of general blanket statements about Black people, and then I made one
Name one.
general
What
statement.
like what?
No,
Don't
no,
say like what? Like
no,
what?
no, because it was in
No, no,
conversation.
no,
It was
no,
in
no, no. If you're gonna say something,
conversation.
I said. If you're gonna put words in my mouth, you got to be clear on
I'm
that.
not. Look, I'm not going back to dignify and answer your question. You heard
I
what you
don't. I'm
heard.
not saying to answer my question. I'm just saying if you're
And
gonna say
all I'm
something like
saying
that.
is that I matched the same energy that you brought, and then you
No,
all
dude.
defensive.
No, you
I'm
didn't.
cool.
No, you did. I did not say a statement like that at any time. I did not say a statement like that at any time. You can go back and look at that because no, I would never say. I would never say somebody in Alabama is more Black than somebody from the. No, I'm not doing that.
Well,
I
well,
didn't say Alabama in any other way. I just said Alabama. You took it to how I stressed it out and accent wise.
You're the only one stressing about it, bro. It's
No, because you said it. And if you're gonna say something, I'm gonna clarify it that I didn't say it that way. But
this is
again,
about how you respond to something, and you the only one
no,
responding.
dude. Because that's so. Anyways, listen. You said it, not me. As long as everybody knows, I don't consider you more Black than me, and I don't consider somebody from Jamaica more Black than somebody from Trinidad, and don't consider somebody from the States being Black from Africa. I'm not doing that. I'm not labeling anybody like that. Black is Black. I would say there's white people in Jamaica. Are they considered Black or white? Because they ain't white from America. How would you label them? Are they
White is white. I don't give a fuck where they come from.
Okay,
they don't have the same problems that we gonna have in the States.
That's what I'm saying.
But you're a different kind of Black.
But their culture is not European. Their culture is from a Black country. They're Black in Jamaica. Their culture is Jamaican.
And Jamaica was colonized. So what?
Okay, but I'm just saying, even though they're still not going to recognize the European way, they're still going to be white from Jamaica. That's all. But I wouldn't say they're, anyways, I wouldn't say that, but whatever. I have nothing I can say to that. You said it, not me.
Hey man, whenever you're ready to let it go, we can move to the next thing. We only
Let's
see
move to the next thing. I'm ready to let it go. If you don't rebuttal, I won't say nothing. I won't stop it. I didn't say nothing.
You're the only one talking. You the one been saying
because
everything.
you had your speech. You had your speech. I had to have mine. What do you mean?
I didn't know. I was just waiting for us to move to the next topic.
Let's
cool.
move. I'm here. I ain't doing nothing. It's up to Garfield, the moderator, to do it.
yeah. Oh, I'm the moderator now, right? I'm the moderator now.
We let you talk, bro. I muted and everything. Go ahead, man.
But you know what? The reality of it is, like, I'm kind of glad that it went there because we're all a brand new. We all are doing this, and I think it was good because I think what it's going to show is how we're going to rebound from that, how we're going to get back on topic, and we're going to look back and be like, man, them dudes can go over there and argue. But at the end of the day, we can still go and have a beer at the end of the day.
Garfield, I never say it's argue. I always say it's a discussion.
A discussion. Yeah.
Discussion. And it's not an argument.
And Vic like to call it elevated conversations, I think. You know what I mean? So elevated
disagreement.
As an elevated disagreement.
Okay,
yeah, and it's okay to disagree.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And what did I tell you from day one? I said I'm always good for. Oh, it's okay to disagree.
Okay to
agree
disagree.
to disagree. I
Mhm.
always say that. Yeah, I don't call anything an argument. An argument is when two people are fighting. I call it a discussion.
Yeah.
I like the elevated discussion, the elevated argument. What did you say? What did you say?
Elevated disagreements,
I
elevated
love
arguments.
that. I like that too.
I call it elevated disagreements because it don't even mean it's a negative thing. Like,
I gotta
look,
write that down.
look, you don't write that down because you ain't the right kind of black. You're gonna get it wrong. You see what I'm saying? See, don't listen.
I ain't even listening to
Don't
that.
listen
I'm
to the
writing it
man
down.
with the wrong kind of black. I ain't the right kind of black. Write shit down. No,
Elevated disagreement right there.
Yeah, because like again, that's why I say, hey, I practice exercises when I come in and say, hey, look, all things are true. You're like, oh shit, he about to fucking say something. Yeah, you goddamn right. Because like, can't nobody take my personal experience from me. Can't nobody take my history from me. Can't nobody take away what's impacted, you know what I'm saying, my culture, you know. Now I'm part of rewriting the narrative to shift it. The reason I exist and the work that I put in is because I know we need to go in a different direction, and the one that we was going in is not conducive to our survival.
Right.
So that means I had to recognize that there was a sense of urgency. So what created the state of survival, right? Socioeconomics, you know what I'm saying, racism, voting, all that stuff, right? That's part of it. That's why you can't separate one from the other, because when you look at the start point in America for every demographic, you got to look at where it began. You know what I'm saying? Do you not find it strange that enslaved black people, the only ones that never got reparations, was the only demographic that never had an economic, you know what I'm saying, apology, so they can fix themselves. And every time that we fixed ourselves, you know what happened? White people came and burned us out of our place. You ever heard of the Tulsa race riots?
Yeah. I was just about to say Tulsa.
So when was somebody gonna fix when somebody gonna replace the city that burned down that was all black with 33 banks and churches? Okay. When is somebody going to replace Wilmington, North Carolina, when they burned it down to the ground? Okay. You know what I'm saying? So I want you to understand what I'm saying. Please don't interrupt, because I want you to understand why I have the opinion I have. See, in America, this is a capitalist society. It doesn't recognize you unless you have money. If you burn out people's ability to provide for themselves and establish economic dominance and self-sustain, how can they grow if they don't have the ability to actually have something to sustain? And then, you know as well as I do, it's harder to replace and repair something that's been built and then destroyed, right?
Absolutely agree.
So show me in America where white people have built something, been destroyed out of it, and then they came back. They never had to do that.
They never had to do that. And
that's the point.
But we can't live, okay, and I get that, okay? I get that slavery happened, terrible thing. The Holocaust happened, terrible thing.
You have an educational understanding.
The Alamo happened, terrible. You can't build a bridge and get over it. You can't live in the past. You can't drive a car looking in the rearview mirror.
And that's what we're doing.
And that's what I want to, if I'm going to have a conversation with anybody, I'm not going to talk about the whole slavery thing and the whole Holocaust thing.
This is amongst reasonable, but this is amongst reasonable people. Is it not reasonable to consider history?
It is reasonable to consider history, but you got to use history as a building block to move forward. You can't use it as an excuse.
That's what I just said. That's why we're here.
People are using it as an excuse.
No. If I bring it up, it's not an excuse. It's
no. I'm not talking you. I did not mean
exactly. And what I'm saying is that when we have the conversation, we need to have a solutions-oriented discussion.
And that's exactly what I want.
Where you have to be able to take in information from a standpoint, from a different lens, from a different talent than you've ever heard before. Because see, everything that you're responding with are trauma responses because you've heard those before. You don't see it. And I'm telling you,
not trauma responses. I wouldn't.
Okay, whatever word.
Use a different word.
Whatever word you want to use to describe reaction. You have a defensive.
My reaction comes from, oh my God, not again. Like I want
exactly.
Talking about it like that.
But that's not fair. But that's the dismissive part that I'm telling you about. When you say not again, it's dismissive to the person that's trying to tell you why they have the opinion that they have.
Okay. But
I come in peace. I come in
peace too, but there's got to be more to our race than that.
I think what it is,
but you're not
Antoine, is
listening.
this.
No, I
think,
am listening, but that's all what we fall back on. It's
No,
the
but
only
you
thing-
keep.
the only
But see,
thing
you
we make
going.
movies
But right
on.
now, hold up. This is an exercise. Right now, you're going back to the negative part of your personal experiences with this conversation, and
No,
I'm trying to set conditions for a positive production.
Positive would not even be mentioning it. Positive would not even be mentioning it. It has
No,
not,
but
positive
that's
would not even be
but that's
mentioning it.
positive to your comfort.
And it's positive.
You're
to
the
your
only
com-
one that
I'm
doesn't
mentioning
want
it,
to. You're the only
but
one
Vic,
that doesn't want to talk
confident,
about it the
positive
way
is
you
mentioning
want
it
to
to
hear
your
it.
point. Positive
Here's
is mentioning it to your point. You understand what I'm saying? That's your stepping stone.
That's
not
what I
mine.
bring to the discussion.
Right. And what
it
I
has
bring to
be
discussion is
discussed.
not that.
let me see if I can add. Let me see if I can shed some light on it. All right, because I've been listening to both of you guys. All right, so I look at it like this. All right, so person X, Antoine, Vic, any one of us, we all have exes, right? We know based off our ex, like ex-girlfriend, ex-wife, ex, right? So if you look at a particular ex that we may have had, right? We have been treated like crap, blah, 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 all these negative things, all right? As we move forward, it's the difference in, oh man, you just like my ex. When you with the new girl, right? And all you talk about is how bad your ex was, right? It's not going to help your relationship. But if you say, hey, you know what? Whether you verbalize it with your ex, with your new girl or not, some things you may have to verbalize. You say, hey, look, when I was with my ex, these things happen. And because of these things happen, I now need to operate like this. See what I'm saying? So not that I'm focused on every negative thing that me and my ex had, but that information and what I've learned from those experiences are still valuable to me making
It's just a reference
proper
point.
connections in my new relationship. So I'm with you, Antoine, just like that. And I think Vic is too. We're over having the conversation about the negative impacts and blah, 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 blah. How can we have the conversation now to push it forward to
And
where
you can't,
now
yeah,
you can benefit from, just like you said, you grew up, your dad told you. So you know what? You got this conversation a generation ahead of me and Vic. You know what I mean? Your dad was there to give you this conversation. I didn't. I got some of it, but not.
my dad was there, but he didn't have this conversation to talk about.
Because he didn't have. And see, like now that I
grew up with
have,
both parents.
I can have the conversation with my kids and I have the experience. And I'm like, yes, this is a reference point. This is what happened, yada, yada, yada. But this is how we use that information to benefit us and to project ourselves into the future. So just dismissing it all together, I get certain people may not want to talk about it, but I think that maybe certain points of it we maybe not be necessary to talk about, just like certain parts of my ex relationships I don't necessarily need to talk about. But there may be some things in my ex relationships that I do need to talk about in this relationship. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or even if I don't necessarily verbalize them, there are going to be some things that I may need to that I may go over in my head, and I'm like, yeah, when I was with my ex, you know, it was like this. So I need to make sure that in this relationship, I'm a little bit more A, B, and C. You know, so I think I think everybody's talking about pushing the conversation forward. I think is the start point in which we start having the conversation is where we maybe have a little bit of disconnect on.
Exactly, because I don't want to think that I am not one to say that, well, you know, you're not going to get ahead because, you know, we got this white supremacy going on. And I'm like, you can't function because, you know, we don't have an, I'm like, really?
You just say it in a different way.
You know what I mean?
But that was never the reason, like why I said people don't.
No, not you. I'm not talking, this is not you. I'm just saying, we're just talking about how we want to move forward with it. And this has nothing to do with you, Vic. I wasn't even pointing the finger at you.
Oh no, I'll look at it like this. Like again, you have to have all of the understanding of the person that's speaking. You can't get the understanding of the person that's speaking and then say what they're saying doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. The key is to understand other people's start point. They have a reason why they think the way they do. Nobody cares how you was raised. It don't dismiss somebody else's experience.
Right.
Just because you have a version for it and that's not your cup of tea and it's not your topic, it ain't something that you study or is well versed on, It's not an opportunity to say, no, that's not the reason why your situation ain't improving. It's a nut roll. You got to understand, everybody in America has a nut roll of problems. You know what I'm saying? But it's key to understand everybody's specific nut roll of problems if you want to have dialogue with them.
Right.
And
I agree with that.
So that's the whole point. Like, so when we're talking, we ain't talking about everybody else. We're talking about people that bring solutions to the discussion.
Right.
So if it's understood that people here are bringing solutions to the discussion, this ain't the time to debate. This ain't the time to take other people's opinions away. We already here because we at a point where there's a sense of urgency. We need leadership right now.
Right.
We need people to fall back into the role where they're the best at right now. And unless you have a vision where you can unite everybody and be able to take in everybody else's opinions of their life and then use them where they're most effective, then there's like, what's the added value in not considering the person's experience? You don't even know how to fully engage with them when you do that.
Right.
See, like,
but this is
it's like this right here. Like, here's the thing. I've had to work around. Everybody's had to work with people they don't like. You know what I'm saying? When they say, you know what I'm saying, keep your enemies close, and you know what I'm saying,
keep your friends close and your enemies
close. Yeah, whatever that is, right? Yep. And you know why men are able to say that? Because until you finish that's code. Because we understand maintaining situational awareness. Sometimes you got to be close to the fire to understand that the fire is actually hot. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So like, the reason why this topic keeps coming back to you, because you're the only person resistant to it. See, if you accept that all things are true from other people and you still keep your opinion without offending nobody else. But see, you don't understand that yet, and you will when you work with me. You know what I'm saying? No. What I'm saying is, no. What I'm saying is, what I'm saying is, it's like, this is about maintaining a low profile when you don't agree with something.
But I'm not coming into this saying that I think being black is already a deficiency in moving forward in life.
Nobody said that. It's an advantage.
Because a lot of people are saying, "Oh, you were born black. You can't succeed like."
But we ain't talking about those people though. See how you keep bringing them.
No, but listen, let me finish. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm coming into this letting them know your color has nothing to do with you succeeding or failing.
You know the best way. You know the best way to do, like, and there's some part of what I say is that I agree with you all. Is that you don't have to bring it up. But if somebody asks, like for instance, I don't lean on the fact that I'm black on every single thing when I talk, you know what I'm saying? But like, my book is written towards black people because I am black, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We grew up a certain life and I speak a language and code that other people understand, you know what I'm saying? There's nothing in your personal experience that can take that away from me, you know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is that if you don't like it, you can write a book about it if you really believe in it, you see what I'm saying? So like, everything gets pushed to a certain point, and the thing that separates us is our willingness to stand in the fire of whatever we said. You know what I'm saying? So there's no point in us arguing, you know what I'm saying, or disagreeing to a cyclic end, because number one, somebody bought my book and said I was right. And just because you disagree with it, just go ahead and write your book and it's going to speak to the people that got the same opinion that you got. Mm-hmm. But understand something, we got more to learn from each other by observing the responses and how we respond to it. That's why I say, if nothing I said makes sense to you or in a pocket of time, understand I'm speaking on behalf of people that you've offended, you know what I'm saying, that don't have access to you. So you don't know that you're saying something offensive. You think it's just cool. You know what I'm saying?
Would you agree that the stuff you said is offensive to others?
No, I don't care what people said.
So should that's where you and I are different.
Because here's what I'm saying. Like, when my personal space and personal experience have been challenged, I'm going to respond with the same energy, because see, you got to understand something. When you meet people, they're going to respond the same way. You don't see how you laid a general conversation, how it can be responded to. But I had to respond to you in a way that somebody without our experience would respond to you. You see what I'm saying?
Well, what about the ones in my experience?
I live in America. I can't speak for those people that don't.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. I don't come from I'm only in America. I come from the human race. Let's just say that. I'm not coming from this whole, I live in America. I'm not coming from that.
Well, here's the thing.
I want to help kids in the masses of any race, gender, what I'm talking
That's
about
utopian. That's utopian.
Everybody.
That's utopian. And what I'm saying, the best way to frame something is to ask a question. You could say, you know what? Hey, Vic, can I get your experience on I got a question and I'd like to have
That's
your
up to the moderator, actually.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, I probably could moderate if I wanted to. But what I'm saying is, because like, I want to teach people conflict resolution. Ask, like, so there's a way to ask to get the answer to the question that you want to ask, because people, when they ask a question, they really got like 3 or 4 questions to get the big question that they really want answered, right? So you're going to say, so the question you should be like, say, hey, Vic, I don't have the same experience that a Black person has in America. Here's a scenario. How would you respond to it? And you know what I'm saying? And this is what I would take from it. And just compare the experience and just get better. Nobody's trying to tell you to fix everything that other people have disagreed with you on. I just want to find a different way so you can get into a conversation where everybody can exchange and understanding with each other, so we can have better presentation and not see each other as threats and being defensive and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all I care about. And that's part of the communication. That's part of the education. That's part of the understanding that like the way we see each other comes out of socioeconomic issues. You know what I'm saying? What we wear, where we work, what time we get up and go, the car we drive, the clothes we wear, all of that stuff. See, that affects us way differently in America than you could probably understand when you, like, we got pumped and fed nothing but toxic stuff for years until we just now learned how to make money off of it and then change it and make it go in a different direction. You see what I'm saying? Things are getting repaired in my community every day.
I feel like, you know, in a sense that it's like Americans really don't know what happens in other countries. They're just so all American.
How would they have any affinity
it's what happens here that determines the whole world. It's like, what? You guys really think Canada's what some pillar of glorious rice or something?
I think that's across the board.
They didn't have like.
I think
it's across the board.
Everybody in their country.
It's like slavery only happened in America. It's like, what? Like, did you guys even
slavery didn't happen
the same? Read the history book?
But here's the thing though, slavery didn't happen in America the same way you conceptualize slavery, because here's what I'm saying. Like, again, you're getting defensive.
No, stop with that shit, man. You're starting.
That's your body language.
I'm getting defensive, dude. Just
but you are.
Because you're talking asinine stuff, and I got to correct you.
Oh, so now it's asinine. See,
yes,
because that's what I'm saying.
You're talking from.
You are very easily triggered. That's all I'm going to say.
You're talking. No, I wouldn't. You see, that's what everybody says. Because the person, and I see that on a lot of channels. Because the person is passionate. Because the person is passionate, they're triggered.
If that's not the first time
because the person is passionate, you go.
If that's not the first time you heard that, what's the common denominator?
But you know, people talk like when they talk and they're passionate and they're verbal with their hands and they're just. And I'm an artist, so I am verbal with my hand. Oh, you're triggered. Why? Maybe he's just passionate. He's not triggered. And what you said to him, he's got to respond to it. But people here use terms like passionate and triggered and cancel culture. Like, that's so asinine and like immature. It's like, no. I'm not triggered. I'm just responding to what you're saying, and I'm calling it asinine because to me it is, because everything I find that people talk like it's like slavery only happened here. They don't even. It's like, have you ever been to Canada? No. Why makes you think we're so beautiful over there? Like, we haven't had struggle. People talk like that, and it's unfortunate. And it's so lack of education or opening up a book and reading or something. But it's not that I'm triggered. I'm just like, I'm passionate about what I'm saying, and I use my hands. And people use things and say things to trigger people to get a reaction so they can say that. And why?
Are you providing a reaction? You think I was saying that to get a reaction out of you? Or you
I think I was
responding to your behavior.
No, I mean, okay, but what makes you? Why would
I didn't say you're triggered and then you started running off. I responded after you started running off.
Because you're saying that you triggered me, and I'm like, nah, dude, that's not being triggered. Triggered is if I start cussing and pointing at you and becoming derogatory and
this is a different type of trigger though. This is not what you think it is. This doesn't mean if you're cussing and stuff. This is you. See, look, right now you explaining things that are very.
And you're not. It's going in one ear and coming out the next. You're not.
No, I've heard everything you said.
No, you heard. Yeah, that's right. You can read the future of what I'm gonna say. It's like you don't even take the time to absorb it. Like it's your word or an end all be all. It's like no.
Well, who has the personal experience of being Black in the South?
You do.
Thank you. That's why I'm talking about.
And who has a personal being? Who has a personal experience of being black in the Caribbean?
I don't care. That's what I'm saying.
So I don't care. So I don't care. So I don't care about yourself. So if you're coming from me, wait. If you're coming from me from that premise,
no, I'm
not
not
about yourself. If you're coming from me from that premise, I don't care about yourself.
No.
Why ask the question?
Because I was talking about this.
Yeah, but why ask the question? If you're gonna say that with that response, why ask the question?
Because it was a loaded question, so I could talk about the book.
But then why load up the question? Why ask it if it's not coming from a genuine place?
Because it is coming from a genuine place.
No,
because
you're not. You don't care, remember?
No, man, look.
Dude, you don't care. Why ask it?
After you finish, let me mute my mic and let me feel.
No, it's just that you don't care. Don't ask a question you don't care about. I said it. Don't ask me a question you don't care about. Because if you don't care, don't ask the question. That's all.
Okay. So, like, would you like to mute your mic?
Yeah.
The question I asked was in the same vein as Garfield brought up earlier about reference points in history. You see what I'm saying? We bring it up to talk about going forward. You know what I'm saying? So when I bring up an example and you respond that type of way, if I say you're triggered, it's after you've responded. I don't initiate anything. Just because you don't like what I said, that's you choosing feelings over experience or personal fact or whatever. And I have the personal experience to back up the thing I said. I didn't just say it because it was random. I've already written about it. You know what I'm saying? It ain't necessarily in this book, but I can justify my personal experience. You see what I'm saying? But then if you want better understanding, then you have to be able to accept the information from which you're requesting to understand it. I have not asked you anything about the Caribbean. I don't care about what your personal experience is in the Caribbean in reference to my opinion about how I care about explaining why I have the opinion I have. That's all I'm saying. It ain't that I don't care about anybody that live in Trinidad. It's because I'm saying that the people in Trinidad didn't have my experience and I didn't have theirs. So I can't care. It's fake caring for me to try to say, let me put myself in your shoes. Because everybody I talked to that came from the Caribbean, they had a hard ass life too. They had a life that I couldn't live. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't even by no sense in the stretch of it, am I saying that if we traded positions that you would flourish in mine based on my start point. You don't know that. You know what I'm saying? There's too many, all of that is speculative conversation. That's all I'm saying. But so when we bring up history, it should be a reference point as to why we should be progressing further. When I bring up like Jim Crow South, slavery and stuff like that, it's because, yes, I agree with you. That we had it way better than they did. All I'm saying is that it still had an effect in mass that has not yet trickled into success in mass. It is a recovery process. Again, we've only been able to vote for our own interests in like the last 60 years. See, you're not part of a demographic that never got a chance to participate in its own political process with adequate equity. You don't have issues with representation at every level of government. You don't have representation with issues with representation at every level of entertainment, industry, and all this other stuff. You see what I'm saying? It is a culture of things that you don't understand, that you didn't grow up here with. So when you say slavery and all that other stuff, and then, you know what I'm saying, it's dismissive, see, you're saying it from a feelings place, and you don't understand how dismissive that is to people that are older than me, you know what I'm saying, that grew up under oppression and shit like that. And it doesn't matter that that wasn't your experience, but you don't even see that you're dismissing it the same way I dismiss Trinidad by the way that you respond, right? Or the Caribbean in general. But you didn't get that until I had to sit here and I said, please mute your mic. I muted my mic earlier just to give you the respect to say things all the way through. I'm not here to cause conflict. I'm here to show you the hypocrisy that we've been masked under for a very long time. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm not taking away your experience, because that's the way you responded was like, I know you're not coming from me. You know what I'm saying? And then vice versa, the other way around. But I ain't defending people that ain't like the people that you're describing. I don't exemplify that behavior that you're talking about. I know why they behave the way that they do, though, because those are still my people, even if I don't fuck with them. You see what I'm saying? It's people that's in Trinidad that ain't gonna never leave the island, and you've been telling them you need to leave, but they won't leave, right? Have you told them have you not told them it's better over here than it is there if they're complaining about it and they won't leave? Like, do you have people that won't leave the island, that want to leave?
I think people will leave if they want to leave, but some people are content where they are. And
that's my point. But those people that are content, are they complaining about it?
No.
But see, in my culture, they'll be content, but they'll complain about it too. And I have to leave them behind. So it's not like I'm saying that those people in my community that grew up in those same residual conditions are better than your people that grew up in their residual conditions. I'm trying to tell you that at some point, we all look like we're each other's adversary by opinion, and it's not always true. I don't believe that you want negative things to happen to people. Don't want people to reach the success they want based on their start point, because you believe that you did the right thing, strapped up, put it on, did what you had to do to go make your money and make a quality of life for yourself, right? We are only training our conversation and dialogue on people like us that can grow other people that are like us. So what I'm trying to tell you is that those people that we're talking about, we have to think about how we're going to be heard and absorbed by other folks. So if I say something and it gives an example, it's because some people out there have experienced the adversity that you're blowing off. You see what I'm saying? But you didn't get that until you experienced being blown off.
No, I don't get that, because the reason I'm trying to say it, and I keep saying it, I don't even know how more clear to say it, okay? People need to build a bridge and get over it. Start from where you are now. Start from the access you have to powers and things you can do now. You don't have the right to go back there. You have what you could tap into now is what you should be focusing on. Sorry what happened. You know what? I'm sorry you were abused as a kid. But you know what? You got treatment, you got help. Let's make it move forward from there. You don't always have to keep reminiscing. Holy shit, man. It's like, enough. What are you reminiscing?
Yeah.
And I think that's the same thing that I was saying with the analogy.
Shit, it's like that's every channel is they're reminiscing.
All of this is a reference point.
Oh, what are people been through? You don't know what your people been through.
But see, here's the thing. Like, you're going back down the negative rabbit hole.
No,
I brought it up.
Down the negative.
What I'm saying is I only brought it up as a reference point for discussion. You see what I'm saying?
Always have to be our reference point. Explain that to me. Why does that always have to be our reference?
I got it.
What do you think history is? What do you think history is? It's a reference point.
It's called the past for a reason. I don't think
here's why. Let me chime in.
Go ahead.
Look at it like this, and I'm gonna go back to the analogy with the exes. All right, with our exes. When I'm looking to get a new wife, a new girlfriend, a new person to be in my life, I use those reference points from my past relationships. If my ex-wife or my ex-girlfriend was a certain way and I didn't like it, then I'm not going to choose that type of person in the future. If I had an anorexic wife that gave me a bunch of problems, I'm probably not going to choose an anorexic wife going forward. If I had an ex that, their mom and dad were always in our business and it caused a lot of problems, I'm not going to choose a person in the future that is so dedicated to their family that is going to cause me a lot of problems. So when we look back at the past as a reference point, as a start point, and say, hey, you know what? I was like, my ex did me like A, B, and C, and I ain't dealing with that no more. So as I move forward and as I pick and choose my next person, I'm using that as a start point or as a reference point to know where I'm going to move in the future.
But Garfield, we did not. We're not starting from slavery, for crying out loud.
No, we're not. But what I'm saying is, we
always use it like we're starting from that point, and I'm like, God damn. Like, really?
I'm not using it from there. I'm just using it as a reference point. I'm just looking at a reference point. Yeah, all of these different things that happened in the past, but as I go forward,
slavery is not the past. Slavery is history. Jesus, why do people? It's like talking about the
slavery is the no. The point
Greeks should talk like the Roman Empire when it was.
Look, you got a different understanding that you want to be heard with about slavery, and that's all it comes back to. What we're saying about slavery is we talking about mass miseducation. That's all we're talking about. That's it. The point, like because you brought the conversation up about education and stuff, and I said no, there's a lot of different things that go into a desire for education, and I brought the economic discussion part, and you listened to that. I brought the home part, and you listened to that. And then when I talk about some of the other origins, this is the part that you don't want to hear. But I don't know how you can hear everything else and not consider this part because we just talked about history. Like you didn't grow up in a country that fought a crack epidemic that was aimed at Black people. You didn't grow up in mass incarceration. And this is stuff that's happened in the last 30 years. Okay? That's my point.
This is mind blowing to me that we're talking about. Okay, go ahead.
But here's the deal. We don't have to agree at the end of the day.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And it's okay to have our own personal opinions, our own personal views. And at the end of the day, you know what I mean, whoever watches this, you know, they're going to be able to develop their own opinions about it. You know, hopefully at the end of the day, whether they're choosing to not talk about it or bring it up as a reference point, they will be able to decide, you know what I mean, what's best for them based off of their situation.
Right.
I think that there are people who can benefit from learning about their history and their past and how they can use that as fuel going forward. I also understand that there are probably there's a space for people who maybe can be maybe sort of dismissive about it and not even talk about it or um not even deal with it and still get to your purpose. You know what I mean? I feel like, you know, maybe I don't talk about feelings, but if you can use it in this, maybe I need to talk it out first before I actually can, you know, concretely agree with it. But if you can feel like you can move on in your life and you don't need to go there, then I don't think that there's anything wrong with that either. You know, if you are a type of person that, you know what, I'm just not going to talk about X, Y, and Z from slavery in my past. And I think that that's okay. But and I think just like Vic is okay to say, well, I'm okay with talking about X, Y, and Z because I'm using it as a start point or reference point to push the conversation, blah, blah, blah. So I definitely do get both sides of it. But from Vic's point of view, I can understand that, you know, and yours too. Whoever watches this content, they're going to range in you know Canada. You know, I want to be international. I want people in Uganda and people in Australia and all over to see this content. So if you know they may say something that may, you know, both of you guys may have said points that may be strong and how they can grab both of those segments of information and come to their own conclusion about what's best for them as far as how they want to approach the
Okay,
situation about.
let's use your girlfriend analogy. The only thing I would tell a person to use about their girlfriend and not a girlfriend analogy is, I ain't want that again. Don't want that again. That's it.
Yep.
There's nothing else. There's nothing else I would go into her qualities and her this and her that. Really don't care. I fell in love with her at one time, and now I know what I don't want. Move on. Get over it. Next.
Absolutely. But for you to
go back to say this is, I wouldn't measure her up to the girl I'm dating today.
you absolutely would. I think we all do. I
All
think
right.
well we whether we admit it or whether we agree is that everything in our past for the most part if we're men and you know we have a certain amount of accountability, we're gonna go back, we're gonna assess those situations. Kind of like how you asked Vista about his exes. And he's making moves and decisions with his new girl based off of things that went on in the relationships before, just like I have, just like you probably do with women.
That's
too.
experience, though.
It's experiences, and that's a difference than always. Oh, well, my ex was this, my ex was this.
Yes,
that's a difference than saying, hey, you know what? Having the mindset, you know what? My first girl was like this, and it was like this, and blah blah blah. And I think what happens along the way is we don't even think about those things anymore. They just kind of become part of how we choose in the future. So whereas in the beginning, you might be like, you might have had a girl and she, I don't know, 800 pounds. And you was like, I don't never date another 800-pound woman. Right. So after a while, you don't even need to have the conversation, or you have the conversation about dating 800-pound women because you have already moved past that. You know, well, I only want to date 600-pound women now. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think, I don't know, that's kind of where I feel like it. You know what I mean? I feel like I got distracted by the book. You know, I mean, I think, you know, the start point is good. You know, everybody is not going to necessarily agree with everything. And I think that that's okay. But I think as men, we got to be able to have the conversation. And like we talked about being solution based, is at the end of the day, how is our demeanor, how is our behavior, how is our body language, how is all of these things going to benefit the person on the other side that's trying to that we're trying to help be successful and trying to help navigate life. So we as men, as long as we have this record button on, they're seeing us. You know what I mean? They're looking at our body language. They're looking at how we behave.
Oh,
They're
this isn't
looking at
live. I thought
everything.
this is not live.
Bro, I've been recording. We've been recording for almost 4
But
hours.
it's not live?
It's recording.
Just recording.
Oh, so it's not like we're I guess I'm getting mixed. See how this
live. No, we're not live.
we're not
We
live
are.
live?
We're
Oh.
recording to upload, but not live.
Yeah, Garfield likes to edit, so he gonna break this thing down. He
better break it down good,
Hey.
Garfield, goddamn.
Nope. Cause here's what I'm gonna do. I ain't breaking down nothing.
You
This
should.
joker getting
I say let it
uploaded
run.
exactly like it is.
I agree.
Let it run the way it is, man. Don't chop
It's
nothing
getting
up.
It's getting uploaded like it is, but
You might have to do it at 1 part 2 and part 3, but I'm
gonna have to do
that's the only
4
chopping
parts.
you're doing.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna I'll probably put a beginning and an ending on it, and at the end of the day, that's it. But for the most part, I think you guys ready to call it a night, because we've been going, and I'm on the East Coast, so it's later here than it is.
Man, I
where
gotta
both of y'all
remember
live.
that.
This
I
your
gotta
fault.
remember that.
It is my fault. But
Yes.
I'm okay with it.
Are you 3 hours ahead too?
It's 8:42. So
Yes, it was
I'm an hour
9:42
behind you.
here.
Vic is like, no, 6:42.
Yeah, you chilling.
Yeah.
This ain't 7 o'clock on
what, man?
Sunday.
It's almost 9 o'clock. Yeah.
That's why I said
Dude.
I'm gonna operate around your time.
We didn't bro. We all just put down almost 4 hours, and I'm still letting it roll. You know what I mean?
No. I get it. I just
We can
didn't
cut
know.
it out whenever we cut it out. We can edit whatever, but I'm not really worried about that.
Hey man, I gotta cook my meal preps for the week.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I'm
You
gonna go ahead and
you
get
to
off this.
training too?
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm a whole man, bro.
Okay.
Like I ride motorcycles, lift weights, and you know what I'm saying. Watch football, man.
Wait a minute. Are you
Yeah.
are you losing or are you gaining? What are we doing here?
I don't know right now. Right now, I'm just maintaining, man. I power lifted for a while, and then you know what I'm saying. Like I'm just in the maintenance, man. I'm 42. I'll be 43 in February.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm working on branding my t-shirts and everything
Okay.
else.
Oh yeah. Hey, I told Vic. I told Garfield about what I thought about your book cover. He probably tell you anyway.
No, I ain't telling him nothing.
Hey, look, I don't even care. Like my book cover is designed as
that word, man.
I don't give it. Like my book was designed to create arguments because like we need people arguing over things that produce an outcome. You know what I'm saying? That's positive. You know,
Elevated argument.
Elevated argument.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, like because like if you're disagreeing about what you got, what clothes you're gonna wear, what kind of building block energy you gonna get as a result after? Oh man, he didn't like my shoes. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like writing and being able to give your life experience and being able to explain what you said and defend what you said and all that good stuff from a position of like, I don't care how you respond. That's real freedom, man. And a lot of people don't understand that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, it is.
Like the only thing you can control is your reaction to something. And
Can't control what other people do.
yeah. And that's the thing. Like, that's the difference between me, Garfield, like us being veterans we are, and everybody else that may not necessarily have the same type of conflict resolution skills. Like you'll see it when you decide, hey, look, I want to listen to understand and be better for the people around me. But that only happens when you recognize that you are useful and you want to give something to somebody. But if you don't have a way to deliver that and you know what I'm saying, and be digested properly, you know what I'm saying, it's going to be a difficult thing to be genuine about and a difficult thing to build trust across the board and a difficult thing to sustain it. So like, and Garfield will tell you, I had to build my rapport with his sons, you know what I'm saying? When I was talking to them, I had to meet them at the language that they understand, and they don't understand shit but offense. You know what I'm saying? Because I know how crazy that they talk to each other. You know what I'm saying? So what's the first thing I told when I'm saying, hey man, which one? Oh, you trash. You see what I'm saying? And then
trash in football.
Exactly. I speak the language, but everybody can't go talk to everybody like that. You see what I'm saying? Like you can't do that. Like
I know football good enough for. I know the Baltimore Ravens. That's my team. Anything else outside of that?
Yeah, but we talking about actually playing it with the mindset, the philosophy, the teammate concept of it, the team building, the organizational part of it, all of that. That's why when you got somebody on a team that's behaving that's not conducive to winning, that's when you can call them trash. You see what I'm saying? Because their contribution does not amount to winning.
Right.
So all right, so you're not bringing a solution to the problem. You see what I'm saying? The problem is we ain't got enough W's. So how does your individual behavior put more W's in the column? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You guys are funny, man. We ain't got
but it is a fact though.
W's. I like that.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, so look, let's do this then.
Okay.
Let's spend the next couple of minutes. We go Vic, Antoine, and then me. We'll close it out a couple minutes to say anything as far as what we talked about. Just kind of a closeout, summary, anything you want to say to any young man that may be watching this right now. And then we're going to close it out, man.
All right, let me think. I'm glad you gave me time to think. I wasn't even thinking.
But go ahead and think. I know Vic always got something going. So Vic want to go first. He can go first.
Yeah, let me go ahead and get it out the way, man. Hey, look, if you sat down and you watched this whole discussion, you know, the whole point was the conversation is an arc. Your start point has to, you know what I'm saying? It has to have the right kind of value to bring in people can kind of see where you want to go depending on how you come in. You know what I'm saying? Like if you start off on a shock value statement, make sure you fill the middle up with your justification. So when you get to the end and make your conclusion, you can stand on where you started. That's number one. And that comes into manifesting the things that you want. You know what I'm saying? Move with the energy of manifest. You know, like we live in a time where you can become anything you want. Man, we done had an orange president, a black female vice president. Yeah, we done fought. Yeah, it's the truth. Hey, we done fought the war on terror. We done fought plenty of invisible enemies. You see what I'm saying? We have had our time and energy and resources obligated to less deserving people, right? Over a period of time. What if you gave yourself back just half of what you gave everybody else? Like, think about how awesome that would be. Think about everything you got when you wasn't even trying. And what happens when you try? So, like, I think the word I want to, you know what I'm saying, even though I just said it, I want people to start removing words that give them opportunity to fail out of their vocabulary. Try gives you a reason to fail. You know what I'm saying? Obligate yourself to perfect execution. Your results may vary, but at least you be going in a direction that has to deal with putting W's in the column. Hey, that's all I got to say. You know what I'm saying? So like I'll hand it off to Antoine, you know, and Garfield, I greatly appreciate you giving me an opportunity to be on the Unkle Junior, you know what I'm saying, network on this Zoom meeting that then went as long as the fucking G8 summit.
Yeah.
With my food thawing out over there on the counter, you know what I'm saying?
Getting all cold.
Yeah, hey, I'm down for the cause, man. I'll be waiting on the commercials.
Hey, stay on until we wrap up.
Wait. I'll be
almost done.
I ain't gonna be long as a bit. I just want people to understand where I'm coming from is that I want to eliminate. Yes, I said the word eliminate this victimhood mentality of starting from where you are. I want to eliminate that victimhood mentality. I'm sorry the past happened. I'm sorry everything happened in the past. Every race has had its trials and tribulations. I get it. But I want to start from a point where, what do you do now? From the resources you have right now, from how good it is for you right now. Build from that starting point. That's what I want to set forth. That's why this is important to me, to use my resources, use my experience to educate the kids today, the ones coming up, the ones that want to be millionaires, because I'm still aspiring to be the same shit too. Right? I'm on that. I believe in that first. Before marriage, that's where I want to be. I got my money up. Exactly. I got my own goals, my own plans, and where I want to be too. But the one thing I want to say that helped me such a great deal, and I'll always be grateful for my father, is he said, son, you're not going to be raised with that mentality. Yes, things happen. Yes, this exists. Build a bridge and get over it. You're as good as the company you keep, period. That's it. So I've always kept good company.
Hey, well, here's how I'll wrap it up. Thank you for allowing us to thank you all for allowing us to space in your life. And until next time, choose wisely.
Boy from the South, man, y'all know how I do it. Turn my headphones up and watch me get to it. In 3.5 minutes, your life can be ruined. So much bullshit on the radio, what are they doing? Kids running from their eyes when I show them the truth. Get control of your emotions, or lose a fucking tooth. Then you whistle when you sleep, watch your windows and peep. Flinching every time I'm walking with the sound of my feet. This is my block. Wherever my feet land. This is my block. Still here, but I'm back again. This is my block.